When we talk about muscle growth and preservation in seniors, most people immediately think about exercise or nutrition, and yes, both are crucial. But there's something far more underrated, something that quietly determines whether your body holds onto muscle or loses it over time. That something is deep restorative sleep. See, your body doesn't grow stronger while you're lifting weights or going for a walk. It grows stronger when you're asleep. And not just any sleep, the kind of sleep that lets your body drop into those deeper phases, the ones where growth hormone surges, tissues repair, and muscle protein synthesis kicks into high gear. As we age, the quality of our sleep naturally declines. Seniors tend to spend less time in deep sleep and more time in lighter sleep phases or frequent awakenings. This change might feel like just another annoyance of aging, but it actually has a direct and profound effect on muscle mass. When deep sleep is interrupted or cut short, the hormonal cascade that repairs your muscles never fully activates. That means even if you're eating well, even if you're staying active, your body might still be breaking down more muscle than it builds. This is why sleep is no longer optional, it's foundational. If you're over 60 and serious about stopping muscle loss, this has to become part of your daily routine. The good news is you can take control. The body is incredibly responsive to small, consistent inputs. The nervous system, especially the parts that govern sleep and wake cycles, adapts rapidly when given the right cues. Start by anchoring your circadian rhythm. That means waking up at the same time every day and getting sunlight into your eyes within the first hour of waking. This simple action sets the clock in your brain and tells your body when to start releasing melatonin later in the evening. And melatonin isn't just about making you feel sleepy. It's part of a larger cascade that supports growth hormone secretion, tissue repair, and overall nighttime recovery. Equally important is winding down properly. Avoid blue light exposure at least 90 minutes before bed. That means putting your phone down, turning off the television, and switching to warm, dim lights. When your eyes are exposed to artificial blue light late at night, it tells your brain it's still daytime, shutting down melatonin in production and shifting your body away from recovery mode. Another key tool here is temperature. Your body needs to drop its core temperature slightly in order to transition into deep sleep. You can help this process by keeping your room slightly cool, around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, and by taking a warm shower 60 to 90 minutes before bed. That sounds counterintuitive, but here's what happens. When you take a warm shower, blood comes to the surface of your skin, and when you step out, the blood releases heat, dropping your core temperature and signaling your body that it's time to rest. Now, when we enter the deeper phases of sleep, specifically slow wave sleep, that's when the body releases the largest pulses of growth hormone. This is what initiates cellular repair. It's like your body goes into a high efficiency maintenance mode, scanning for microtears, inflammation, and muscle damage, then getting to work on rebuilding. If you're not spending time in these stages, you're missing the most potent window for muscle preservation. What's fascinating is how much control you have over this process. Small interventions like supplementing with magnesium or glycine before bed can support better sleep depth. Magnesium helps calm the nervous system, while glycine lowers body temperature and helps you fall asleep faster. These aren't pharmaceutical interventions. They're gentle, naturally occurring compounds that help your body do what it was designed to do. And what you don't do is just as important. No caffeine after 2 p.m. Even if you think coffee doesn't keep you up, caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours. That means half of that dose is still in your system at bedtime, blocking adenosine, the chemical that builds up throughout the day and tells your brain it's time to sleep. Alcohol is another one. It may make you feel drowsy, but it fragments sleep and reduces time spent in restorative phases. So while you might fall asleep faster, you wake up groggy with less muscle repair having taken place. All of this comes down to one core principle: your body wants to heal. It wants to preserve your strength, your independence, and your vitality. But it can only do that if you give it the time, space, and conditions to recover at night. When you prioritize high-quality sleep, you're not just resting, You're training your body to fight aging from the inside out. If you care about holding onto your muscle, protecting your bones, and feeling stronger each year instead of weaker, then mastering your nighttime routine isn't just helpful, it's non-negotiable. When we talk about stopping muscle loss in seniors, the conversation often turns to what you eat, and that's absolutely valid. Nutrition plays a foundational role, but there's a very specific window where the type of food you consume can make a massive difference, and that's in the hour before you go to bed. What most people don't realize is that your body needs fuel during sleep just as much as it does during the day, especially if the goal is muscle preservation. During deep sleep, your muscles are repairing, rebuilding, and growing stronger. But without the right fuel in your system to support that process, your body may actually start breaking down muscle tissue overnight, especially as we age. This is where slowed, digesting protein comes in. Think of it as providing a slow, drip Roman 4 of amino acids, the building blocks of muscle, directly to your tissues while you sleep. For seniors in particular, this becomes crucial because the body's ability to maintain muscle mass diminishes with age, a condition called sarcopenia. It's a gradual decline in muscle tissue, and it accelerates if the body doesn't have the right nutritional support. The problem is, many seniors go to bed after having dinner 3 or 4 hours earlier and eat nothing until the next morning. That's a long fasting window, and during that time, the body still needs energy to fuel cellular repair. If it doesn't get that energy from nutrients in the bloodstream, it starts looking for it elsewhere, and one of the easiest sources is your muscle tissue. By consuming a slowed, digesting protein like casein about an hour before sleep, you're essentially feeding your muscles throughout the night. Casein is different from fast proteins like whey, which are absorbed quickly and used up within a couple of hours. Casein forms a gel-like consistency in the stomach, which causes it to be absorbed slowly, sometimes over a 6-8 hour period. That means your bloodstream stays supplied with amino acids for the entire duration of sleep, which dramatically reduces the chance of muscle breakdown. For seniors, even more so than younger adults, this strategy becomes a nightly shield against catabolism, the breakdown of muscle tissue. And it's incredibly easy to implement. You don't need to overcomplicate it. You can mix a scoop of casein protein with water or milk, or even have a small serving of Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, both of which are rich in casein. The key is timing. 1 hour before bed gives your body enough time to begin digestion without disrupting your ability to fall asleep. Now, some people worry about eating before bed, thinking it might interfere with sleep or cause weight gain. But here's the nuance. It depends on what you're eating. A small, protein-dominant snack without heavy fats or sugars doesn't interfere with sleep. In fact, it can enhance it. The amino acid tryptophan, found in dairy proteins, contributes to the production of serotonin and melatonin, which actually support sleep quality. So, instead of harming your sleep, this habit could help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, while at the same time protecting your muscle mass. It's also important to note that this strategy works synergistically with everything else you're doing. The movement during the day, the resistance training, the high-quality sleep routine we talked about earlier, these pieces don't work in isolation. You're creating an environment inside your body that encourages growth, recovery, and strength. When you eat a slowed, digesting protein before bed, you're signaling to your body that it's safe to repair, to build, to hold on to what matters. You're not just drifting through sleep passively, you're actively using that time to push back against the biological aging process. One of the most empowering parts of this approach is how simple and sustainable it is. We're not talking about dramatic diet changes or supplements with side effects. We're talking about a small, controlled, evidence-backed adjustment to your evening, one that can have profound effects over time. Because consistency is what really matters here. Doing this one night won't transform your muscle profile, but doing it every night for a month. That's when you start to feel stronger in the morning, see less soreness, recover faster, and hold onto your functional strength in ways you might not have thought possible. This isn't just about looking fit or staying toned. It's about the freedom that comes from strength, being able to stand up without help, to carry your groceries, to climb stairs without hesitation. These daily actions, the things that define independence, rely on muscle, and muscle relies on you to feed it the right way, especially at night. Fuel your body before bed, not with sugar, not with empty calories, but with something that tells your muscles, "I've got you," because that simple act, done consistently, can change everything. When most people think about building or preserving muscle, they picture long gym sessions, heavy weights, or complicated routines. But what if I told you that just 10 minutes of intentional movement before bed could play a huge role in stopping muscle loss, especially for seniors? You don't need to overhaul your life or train like an athlete. What you need is consistency and a deep understanding of how your body responds to activation, even at low intensity. Movement sends a signal. It communicates with your nervous system, your muscles, and your hormones, telling your body that strength still matters. That simple message, repeated daily, helps you hold onto muscle in ways that most people overlook. As we age, our muscle tissue isn't just declining because we're not exercising enough. It's declining because we're not stimulating it often enough. Muscles are responsive tissues. They react to tension, to resistance, to use. When they're not challenged, even gently, they begin to atrophy. But when they are activated, when you create just enough resistance or tension, the brain gets the signal. This tissue is still important. This muscle is still in use. Let's keep it. That's where evening movement comes in. Just 10 minutes of light resistance work before bed is enough to keep that signal strong. And I'm not talking about something exhausting or disruptive to your sleep. I'm talking about simple, controlled movements, things like wall push-ups, bodyweight squats, resistance band rows, seated leg raises, or light stretching paired with isometric holds. You're not aiming to burn calories or build new muscle fibers in that moment. You're aiming to engage the ones you already have and keep them active. This primes your body, especially your motor neurons, and keeps the neuromuscular connection sharp. It's like keeping a light switch on dim instead of off. That low-level activation helps maintain strength, control, and function. And here's the beautiful part: doing this right before sleep takes advantage of one of your body's most anabolic windows. Because during deep sleep, when your body is naturally releasing growth hormone and repairing tissues, it uses the cues you gave it during the day to decide what to prioritize. If you've just finished a few minutes of movement that challenges your muscles slightly, your body knows exactly what to focus on during those recovery hours. Another benefit is the neurological feedback loop it strengthens. You're not just preserving muscle, you're preserving coordination, balance, and joint integrity. The nervous system governs how muscles fire, how quickly they respond, and how efficiently they recover. And just like muscles, neural pathways need to be exercised. A few minutes of evening movement helps keep these pathways clear and strong, which becomes especially important for fall prevention, stability, and maintaining independence later in life. Think about this as daily maintenance for your strength system. Just like brushing your teeth protects against decay, a short nighttime movement routine protects against muscular decline. The reason it's so effective isn't because it's intense, it's because it's regular and targeted. You're creating rhythm and structure for your muscles and your nervous system, which is especially helpful as the body's natural repair systems slow down with age. There's also a psychological element that's hard to ignore. Ending the day with a few minutes of movement reinforces a mindset of strength and control. It tells your mind that your health is still your responsibility, that your body still responds, and that you're not simply at the mercy of time. That mental shift, from passive to proactive, carries into everything else you do. You begin to walk taller, sit with better posture, and move through the day with more awareness of your physical power. That sense of ownership changes how you age, and it's accessible. You don't need any fancy equipment. Most of these exercises can be done using a wall, a chair, or just your own body. The goal is not to sweat or strain. The goal is to activate. A gentle resistance band row, for example, wakes up the upper back muscles and strengthens posture. A set of slow, deliberate chair squats reminds your quads and glutes that they're still needed. It's low risk, low effort, but high return. The science is clear. Consistent low-level resistance work helps retain muscle mass, improve sleep quality, and even support better insulin sensitivity. It's a tiny window of time that sets the tone for hours of recovery ahead. You're not just preparing your body for rest, you're giving it a reason to regenerate. So each night, before you lay down to sleep, take a few minutes to move with intention. That small decision might be one of the most powerful tools you have to keep muscle loss at bay and stay strong for years to come. Muscle loss in seniors isn't just about what you eat or how much you move. Underneath all of that, there's a much deeper system that governs how your body maintains strength, and that system is hormonal. Hormones are the messengers of the body. They tell your muscles when to grow, your brain when to sleep, your fat cells when to store or burn energy. And when it comes to preserving muscle as you age, a few key hormones are doing the heavy lifting: testosterone, growth hormone, and insulin. But as we get older, those hormones naturally decline. That's part of the aging process, but it doesn't mean we're powerless. Because what most people don't realize is that these hormones are heavily influenced by your behavior, especially how you time your light exposure, your meals, and your sleep. Let's start with light. Your brain has a built-in clock, a circadian rhythm, and that clock is set primarily by light exposure. The timing and intensity of light directly impact hormone production. When you get bright light into your eyes early in the morning, preferably within the first 30 to 60 minutes of waking, it anchors your circadian rhythm. It tells your brain this is daytime, which starts a countdown to when your body should begin releasing melatonin, the hormone that helps you fall asleep at night. That early light exposure also triggers a cortisol spike, and while cortisol gets a bad reputation, that morning pulse is essential. It wakes you up, sharpens your focus, and sets the rhythm for hormone release throughout the rest of the day. Without that strong morning anchor, your entire hormonal system starts to drift, and when the rhythm is off, recovery is off, muscle repair is off, and you feel it in your energy, your strength. Your sleep, now think about food. When you eat and what you eat has a direct effect on insulin, the hormone that controls blood sugar and plays a major role in muscle metabolism. A lot of people assume insulin is just about diabetes or sugar, but that's only part of the story. Insulin also tells your cells to absorb nutrients, including amino acids from protein, and use them to build muscle. But here's the key: insulin sensitivity matters more than just insulin levels. As we age, we become more insulin resistant, meaning the body has a harder time using insulin effectively. The solution isn't just cutting carbs or skipping meals, it's about timing. When you eat earlier in the day, especially after physical activity, your body responds to insulin more efficiently. That's when your muscles are more receptive to nutrients. Late night meals, especially high in sugar or fat, disrupt that pattern and blunt insulin sensitivity. And when insulin is out of sync, so is muscle protein synthesis, the very process your body relies on to build and maintain lean tissue. Then there's sleep, not just the quantity, but the timing and quality. Your body does its deepest repair work at night, in the early phases of sleep, when growth hormone is released in its largest pulses. But if your circadian rhythm is misaligned, if you're staying up late, exposed to artificial light, or eating too close to bedtime, you blunt that release. Growth hormone is your body's natural anabolic signal. It tells your tissues to recover, regenerate, and rebuild. And the older we get, the more we rely on maximizing that nighttime release to preserve what we have. Sleep isn't just a passive state, it's an active window for hormonal recalibration. That's why sleep hygiene is part of muscle health. Total darkness, a consistent bedtime, and a quiet environment all reinforce the natural rhythm that supports growth, hormone secretion, and tissue repair. There's also testosterone, often seen as the male hormone, but essential for women too. Testosterone supports muscle density, strength, and even mood. While levels naturally decline with age, they're also responsive to behaviors. Resistance training, quality sleep, and even exposure to sunlight all help support natural testosterone production. And here's what's fascinating. Your hormonal environment can be shaped without medication, just by creating alignment between your actions and your biology. That alignment begins with respecting the circadian system, not fighting it. Because when your sleep, your meals, and your exposure to light all follow the rhythm your body was designed for, your hormones respond accordingly. They become more efficient, more predictable, and more supportive of the goals you care about, especially preserving muscle mass. It's not about chasing hormones with artificial boosters. It's about working with your body, not against it. By paying attention to the cues you're giving your system each day through light, through food, through rest, you're guiding your hormones into a pattern that favors strength, vitality, and long-term health. And that's a pattern that pays off not just tonight, but every night that follows. Most people think about protein and exercise when they're trying to preserve muscle as they age. And they're not wrong. Those are important. But what often gets missed are the micronutrients, the small but essential compounds your body absolutely depends on to carry out the work of maintaining muscle tissue. Without them, even if you're sleeping well, eating enough protein, and staying active, your body won't be able to repair and rebuild muscle properly. That's the difference between just doing the right things and actually getting results from them. Because to build anything, including muscle, your body needs raw materials. And that's where nutrients like magnesium, zinc, omega-3 fatty acids, and creatine come in. These aren't optional. They're the foundation for recovery, growth, and resilience. Let's start with magnesium. It's involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, and a significant number of those relate directly to muscle function and recovery. Magnesium helps regulate nerve impulses, reduce inflammation, support sleep quality, and balance calcium levels, which affects how muscles contract and relax. When magnesium is low, muscles become tight, restless, and slow to recover. Many seniors are deficient in magnesium without realizing it, because levels tend to decline with age and absorption becomes less efficient. Supplementing with magnesium before bed, especially in forms like magnesium glycinate or citrate, not only supports better sleep, which we know is critical for muscle growth, but also improved muscle relaxation and nighttime repair. It's a small addition with a big impact. Zinc is another one that flies under the radar but plays a vital role in the hormonal cascade we talked about earlier. Zinc is crucial for the production of testosterone, a hormone deeply tied to muscle preservation. And again, this isn't just about men. Women need testosterone too, just in smaller amounts, and zinc helps regulate it naturally. Zinc also supports immune function, which matters more than ever as we age. When your body is fighting off low-grade inflammation or recovering from illness, muscle breakdown speeds up. But with optimal zinc levels, your immune system is more resilient and your recovery window is shorter. The goal is to stay in a state where your body can focus on rebuilding, not just defending. Now let's talk about omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA, the two most bioactive forms found in fish oil. These compounds are known for their anti-inflammatory properties, which are essential because chronic inflammation directly interferes with muscle growth. Inflammation blocks protein synthesis, slows recovery, and increases the breakdown of lean tissue. Omega-3s act like a buffer. They protect the body from excessive inflammation while also improving insulin sensitivity, cardiovascular function, and joint mobility. That last one is key. If your joints feel better, you move more. If you move more, you send the signals to your body that muscle still matters. Everything feeds into everything else. Taking a high-quality omega-3 supplement daily or regularly consuming fatty fish like salmon or sardines gives your muscles a better internal environment to grow and function well. Creatine is probably one of the most misunderstood tools available, especially for seniors. Most people associate it with bodybuilders or young athletes, but the truth is, creatine becomes even more important as you age. It's a natural compound stored in your muscles that helps regenerate ATP, the energy currency your body uses for movement, especially quick bursts like standing up, climbing stairs, or catching your balance. As we get older, our natural creatine stores decline, and with that decline comes a reduction in muscular strength and endurance. But studies have shown that even low doses of creatine, as little as 3 to 5 grams per day, can improve muscle retention, increase strength, and even enhance brain function in older adults. It's safe, well-researched, and incredibly effective. The key is consistency. Just like with magnesium or omega-3s, these aren't quick fixes. They're about building a long-term foundation for resilience, and that's the point. Your body is constantly adapting. It wants to stay strong, to stay capable, but it needs support. You wouldn't try to build a house without bricks or a road without asphalt. Muscle is the same. It's built on the small things, the nutrients that operate behind the scenes, quietly fueling every contraction, every repair, every night of recovery. And when those nutrients are in place, everything else you're doing becomes more effective. Your sleep gets deeper. Your movements feel smoother. Your energy lasts longer. That's the synergy we're aiming for. So yes, train. Yes, eat enough protein, but don't forget the small things that make the big things possible. Because it's those quiet building blocks, magnesium, zinc, omega-3s, and creatine, that often determine whether your strength stays with you or slowly fades away. There's something that many people do every night, often without thinking twice, that quietly sabotages one of the most powerful natural processes in the body: muscle repair during sleep. And it's not about skipping workouts or missing protein. It's about what you consume before bed. Most people assume that what they eat or drink in the evening doesn't matter much as long as they're eating healthy overall. But timing and type are everything, especially at night, because your body's hormonal landscape changes dramatically when the lights go out. And certain substances, especially sugar, caffeine, and alcohol, disrupt that entire system in ways that directly accelerate muscle loss, especially in older adults. Let's start with sugar. It might seem harmless to have something sweet after dinner or a dessert late in the evening. But when you eat sugar before bed, even a small amount, it spikes your blood glucose and triggers a corresponding insulin response. That insulin spike makes it harder for your body to begin the deep restorative phases of sleep, the exact phases where growth hormone is released in its largest pulses. This is crucial because growth hormone is what tells your body to repair tissue, build muscle, and preserve lean mass. So if sugar is still in your bloodstream when you're trying to sleep, you're essentially muting one of the strongest signals for nighttime recovery. Instead of building muscle, your body is busy managing blood sugar, and in many cases, storing it as fat. Caffeine is another major disruptor, and not just in the way people usually think. Most believe if they drink coffee in the afternoon, they'll still fall asleep fine at night. And maybe they do fall asleep, but the question is, what kind of sleep are they getting? Caffeine has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours. That means if you drink a cup of coffee at 4 p.m., half of that caffeine is still circulating through your system at 10 p.m. And what caffeine does is block adenosine, a molecule that builds up throughout the day to make you feel tired and helps transition your brain into deeper sleep. When adenosine is blocked, your sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented, and shorter. And because deep sleep is where your body does most of its muscle repair and hormonal balancing, even small disruptions can compound over time. For seniors who already get less deep sleep naturally, this interference makes the problem even worse. Then there's alcohol, maybe the most deceptive of all. It feels relaxing, and yes, it can help you fall asleep faster. But the sleep alcohol gives you isn't restorative. It fragments your sleep cycles, especially during the second half of the night, and reduces the amount of time your body spends in REM and deep sleep. Alcohol also suppresses the secretion of growth hormone, blunts testosterone, and increases cortisol, a hormone that actually promotes muscle breakdown when elevated at night. You may wake up groggy, inflamed, and weaker, even if you were in bed for 8 hours, and over time that low-quality sleep adds up to a body that can't fully rebuild itself. It's not about demonizing any of these things, it's about understanding the cost. When you're in your 20s or 30s, your body can buffer these effects more easily. But in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, the margin for error gets smaller. You can't afford to blunt muscle. Building hormones disrupt sleep architecture or add more systemic inflammation to an already aging system. Every single night becomes a window of opportunity or a missed chance to hold onto the strength you've built. The solution is simpler than most people expect. Create a cutoff time, stop eating at least 3 hours before bed, and avoid caffeine entirely after 2 p.m. If you enjoy alcohol, have it earlier in the evening and in moderation, not as a nightly habit, but as an occasional choice. Replace evening cravings with habits that signal recovery instead of disruption. A warm tea without stimulants, a short walk after dinner, or a relaxing wind-down routine that prepares your body for real rest. These subtle changes, when done consistently, create the kind of internal environment your body needs to prioritize repair, not damage. And it's not just about sleep quality or muscle mass. This is about how you feel when you wake up. Are you groggy and achy, or clear and steady? Do you feel like your body is breaking down or building up? The difference is often in these evening choices. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be aware. Because when you remove the substances that quietly disrupt your system, you give your body the freedom to do what it was designed to do: recover, rebuild, and protect the strength that keeps you independent, mobile, and resilient for years to come. Chinese